Hey guys, welcome to Anything Is Possible with Conrad. Today I will be um, interviewing a celebrity special guest, and let me pin where to follow me at. Okay, here we go. So follow me, guys, at Conrad Bratz, and then feel free to buy a badge if you want, because I'm saving up for the Taylor Swift concert. And thanks for always coming to support my lives and all. So, but let me send her the live. But if you guys have any questions, feel free. Okay, looks like she is here. Let's see if I can add her. 1 second. Hello.
Hi, Conrad. Hello.
Hi. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. Sorry, I'm a little late. I was trying to take care of some technical stuff.
Oh,
So
definitely no worries. I'm just honored to have you on the live. So,
thank
anyway,
you.
so tell me about yourself for those that don't know who you are.
Of course. Yes. So I am a child of God, first of all. I come from Washington, D.C., the East Coast. I grew up in the city. So I'm like a city kid. And I went to Catholic school, and I'm actually a mom. I have three sons. I have a husband. Very happy. I'm also an actress. I've been acting for probably, wait, what is this? What year is this? Almost 20 years, actually. So I started in theater, yeah, and I did a couple tours. I went to China, I went to Taiwan, I went to Germany. So I've done a lot of musical theater and some straight theater, and now I'm in LA and I'm doing more film and TV work. I just wrote a book. I'm an author of Finding You in Every Script, and I just dropped a journal as well. But yeah, so I am just an entertainer. I love people. I'm now an influencer because of Darman, working at Darman. People know me from YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. So it's great to have this kind of fan base, and I appreciate you allowing me to come and share my story.
Oh yeah, of course. So before we get into the book, because I know you wanted me to ask some questions and you about the book, and I know about that, but I was going to ask you how did you get into acting and doing YouTube? I was kind of wondering that in the back of my
Yeah.
head.
So how I got into acting is one thing because I was a young mom and I was living, in Maryland at the time, and I was looking for part-time work. I really was. I was looking for just to make some extra money. So, little odd jobs like working at a restaurant or, doing small jobs like that. And I looked in the paper and saw an audition for a play called Dreamgirls. I don't know if you know that play. Yeah,
Hmm.
because it was a huge movie, but it was a play before it was a movie. So they were doing that, and I went for the audition. They loved me, and they were like, "Yeah, we want you to play the part." And I was like, "Great." I was like, "Well, when are we going to get paid?" And they were like, "Well, this is community theater." And I was like, "What? Wait, how do you have an audition and you don't get paid?" But then I realized there's different levels to acting. But I loved it so much that I stayed. So I started doing community theater. Then I started doing dinner theater. That's where I started to get a paycheck. I started to work. And then that's when I started to meet people that wanted me to tour, that wanted me to go to New York. I went back and forth to New York a lot of times auditioning and things. And I thought that at one time I wanted to be on Broadway. I was like, I think I want to be on Broadway because when I did get inspired. I will say this, when I was 17, for our junior class trip, we went to New York City and saw Les Miserables on Broadway. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. I cried, I laughed, everything. And I was just like, I don't know how to do that, but I want to do that. So I started doing more plays in school, but then later on in life, that's when I was like, maybe I can audition, maybe I can act. I don't know, but I've always sang in the church. I just was shy to be able to talk to me. Even now, I feel like, I talk faster than my mind can catch up to it. So sometimes I trip over my words, but I still feel like, I was born to be an entertainer because I love people like Lucille Ball. I used to watch I Love Lucy, that show, Carol Burnett show. I used to love Dolly Parton, and she's more of a singer, but she's a great actress as well. So I was inspired by a lot of those great actors as well.
Oh, excellent. And can you like share like one like thing that you thought that you've done like while you were acting that you felt like you did but like nobody else has ever like experienced that type of thing? I've never actually asked this question on live, but I wanted to ask this just to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, there are so many experiences that I've had in performing where, especially like theater, I will do something and I will act and I will be in the scene and I will come out of it and be like, who just did that? That wasn't me. It felt like an out of body experience, like something else took over my body and I became who I was, that character. I literally became that character, and it's amazing to me. And even when I go back and I look at, some of the Darman videos, I was just looking at the one I posted a clip today, and I was like, wow, I don't know if I've ever watched the whole thing. So I went back and I looked at it and I was like, wow, that was me. I did that. Like, I'm really good at like telling these stories. And sometimes you can't see what other people see. Sometimes you do have to take the advice of other people, because I know when I was first starting, I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself, but people saw it. People were like, wow, why are you doing this? Like, aren't you doing this everywhere? And I was like, no, I'm just starting to do it. So that's why sometimes it's good to take the advice of some people, because you don't even know what it is that you have in you, to just take, because at first I wasn't formally an actress. I didn't get training growing up and or dancing or even singing. Like, I sang in church, but that's it. But when I started to do theater, I started to learn how to apply technique to dance and acting techniques. And then that made me want to learn more. Then I went back to school for acting so that I can know what I'm doing, so I can be confident in it.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And also now we'll talk about the book. So what inspired you to write the book that you wrote?
Oh, that's such a great question. Okay. So this is my book, guys. If you haven't got it yet, Finding You in Every Script. You have to go get it. It's great because, okay, so this is the origin of it. All right, Conrad. So the origin of it is that I always loved psychology. Okay.
Mhm.
So when I graduated high school, I went to college to study psychology. So I was studying about Freud and Pavlov's dog, and just learning about the mind, because even in the book, I talk about it in the book, how I love my family, but they were just going through a lot. Like, they had a lot of trauma, a lot of troubles, and I just wanted to help them. And I was just like, how do I help them? Well, maybe I'll become a therapist. So I first went to school to study psychology and how people think and why they did the things that they did. So maybe I can help correct the things that, that the way that my family were thinking. But what happened is I started doing more theater stuff, and I like theater more than I like psychology. I mean, even though I still love psychology, that's the thing. I love psychology, and I use psychology to create my character. So that's pretty much how I started my book. Now, last year, I was working at Darman, and I was really like, I want to do something different. I want to do something big, and I'm a spiritual person, and I was praying and fasting, and I was just like, well, what is the next thing I need to do, God? And I walked into Darman, and there was Catherine Norland. You guys know Catherine.
Wow.
She was there, and I was like, hi, Catherine. We love each other. And she was like, hey, and she was like, what's going on? And I said, things are good, but I'm just ready for something different. I don't know what. And she said, well, I'm going to a book conference in a couple weeks, and you're going to come with me. And I was like, what? She was so excited. She was like, you're coming with me. And I said, okay, all right, so I'm coming. So we went to the book conference. It was amazing. They've literally told us it's not that difficult to write a book. And I left with so much confidence in myself to write a book. Catherine was there, and also Giovanna. You guys know Giovanna from Dartmouth. She was there. We came back from the conference so fired up. We held each other accountable. We wrote the books. We were talking to each other like, okay, did you write today? You write today? And we were both writing it, getting through it. And finally, we got through our books. We released our books last year. I think Catherine she had released a couple of other books last year, but then she released her main book this year. But Giovanna and I released our books, and so that's what this book is about. It's about creating your characters through learning different personalities,
Wow.
and I think it's super fun. Yeah, it's super fun. And it's a guide. It's not a big book. It's a nice size. One of the other readers and fans and interviewers, Nicola, said she got through it in a day and a half. So it's an easy read. It's a reference book. You can go back and read it. There's also some scripts in here that you can look through and reference, and some pictures of me on Darman. So I just think it's a fun little book that I think a lot of people will find joy in reading.
Oh, nice. And I have to ask, what is, out of the whole entire book, what is your favorite quote that you had written on there?
Oh, my favorite quote?
Yeah.
Well, I will say this. So there are 9 different personalities, and the one that I relate to the most is type 4, which is the individualist, or like the romantic. So that's somebody who is, doesn't have to be with a big group of people, can be alone and be quiet and solitude and calm and just kind of an introvert. So a lot of people don't think that I'm an introvert because I'm performing and things like that, but I actually love quiet time, and I don't mind being alone. So that part I related to so much. But as an individualist, you still care about people, and you want to see the best in folk, and so if there's a way, and I think that's why my personality wanted to go to school and help my family, because I was so interested in the heart, in the heart matters. I was interested in how can I care for someone's heart and take care of them, as opposed to just trying to fix somebody, or leave them be. If they're crazy, I'm just leave them alone. No, I actually wanted to find out what is at the root of the heart so that I can help someone. So I think that section really related to me. Now for you or for other people, they may relate to other types. I think Nicola said that she related to type 2 because she's like a supporter, like a very supportive person, and she wants to help people, and I can tell that in her personality for sure. So and everybody has like their different things, and it's different stories in there, but I think that one really stuck out for me.
And how long did it take you to write the whole book?
So during that time last year, okay, so we came back about July 1st. It was and then September was around the time I released it. It took about 2 months. I know. And a lot of people say, it takes like years to write books, and, and I get it. My book is only 131 pages, only 131 pages. Some books are 300, 400 pages, but my book is only 131 pages, and it's more of a reference book as well. So it's not like a straight read through story novel type of book. But yeah, it took me only 2 months. It took me 2 months to write the book, and I'm happy. I'm happy about it.
Oh, awesome. And did you have any help while writing the book, or did or did you just purely write it on your own?
So I did. Like I said, I got encouragement from Giovanna and Catherine for sure. And then I also had a team that helped me edit it. So yeah. So there, and you can hire an editor separately and things like that. But it was a small publishing company that I knew a couple of my friends had worked with, because a couple of my other friends had already released books, and I was like, wow, well, I wonder how they can help me, and so they helped me in that way, where they went through the edit and kind of, check for grammatical errors, and make sure it made sense, because I was going off of what was in my mind, and it was my first book. So having someone there, having a team of people that were like, okay, this looks good, oh, maybe we can switch that around, but as far as writing the book solely, yeah, it was just me writing it. Yeah. But I did have some people that left me a quote, like Darman himself, and Catherine, and a couple of other amazing friends, that added to my book about, how inspiring, the words of this book is, and me as an artist, so yeah, it was great.
Oh, excellent. Um, what was, and I do have to ask this, but what was like the most difficult thing that you had to write in the book, if there was
The
anything?
most difficult part, well, I have it right here, so let's see. I think the most difficult part, I mean, honestly, it wasn't that difficult, because I knew what it is that I wanted to do. I had already structured it in a way that I said, okay, I'm going to talk about each type of personality, because I just love that type of talk. I listen to psychology, types of podcasts and things like that. So I already had it structured in my mind. Okay, I know the 9 different types of personalities. So let me just write about those, and then go back and say, well, how does this relate in my life, in real life for me? And then I went to, okay, let me look at some scripts that, people can add. Cause I come from theater background. And so I use theater scripts, because they're easy to break down and see, like, what type of personalities these people are. So I went back, and I was just, so maybe, that might have been the most difficult. Now that you say that, the most difficult part was trying to find the scripts that match the different personalities, because I knew what kind of personalities I wanted to write about. But then it's like, okay, now I want to reference it to a theater script. Okay, now which theater script am I going to go through? So I went through a lot trying to find the one that I thought matched closely to the personality. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you for
Yeah, of course.
sharing that. Now, my next question to you is, what is one thing that you have done that you thought was like either improbable or impossible, but yet somehow you achieved it?
Oh, that's a good question. Something that I thought was impossible or improbable, um, but I did achieve it. It's so many things. I mean, because we have so many adventures in life, I mean, being an author is one. Being an author, who knew? Because I thought that eventually I would write like my life story, and I think I still will. I'm gonna write my life story one day. I'm just having too much fun now to be like, let me slow down and look back on everything. But being an author has really opened my eyes to, wow, I can do anything. Being a professional actress, is one thing. Because when I first started acting, it was sort of like I said, like a part-time thing, like a part-time job, not really. I didn't think it was going to be a real career. Even when I went to school, it was so funny, because I went to school and studied psychology, and there was a roommate that I had. One of the roommates I had in our suite, and she was a performing arts major, right? And so we had a little heated conversation, because I told her profession wasn't real. The nerve of me, right?
Right.
I told her that it wasn't a real job, and look at me now, So I mean, and let me tell you, that actress, killing it in Chicago. She's a stage actress in Chicago, and she's living her best life. So it is a real job if anybody wants to know being an actress. So yeah, being a professional actress, just accomplishing so much in life. I mean, I even went skydiving, you know, so it's a scary experience, but it's like I love to conquer any type of fear that I might have. I like to say, well, if I can conquer that, then you know that it just takes away the fear of it. So it's a lot of things, but yeah, those things like that is what really gave me the courage to just go for it in life.
Oh, nice. Yeah, the reason I named my live stream Anything is Possible with Conrad is because I know how a celebrity exemplifies that throughout their hard work and throughout their hard journey. And then, you know, for me, like becoming a celebrity interviewer, which I mean, honestly, I'm humbly honored that I got to get an opportunity to interview you. And then I've always wanted to interview a celebrity since I was 5, and I finally got my opportunity, which was like super incredible. And I also made my 12-year-old all-star team, and I won like a dodgeball
Wow.
tournament
Yeah.
in college. And then I also got to meet a couple athletes that I really look up to
Nice.
most.
Yeah.
And I also got to make state for cross country and track. I made varsity all 4 years. And that, you know, the day I came up with a title name, I went to a WNBA game and I got on the big screen
Oh,
eight
wow.
or nine times. And and then I was like, you know what, let's name the live stream Anything is Possible with Conrad, because
I love that.
I know it may sound crazy, but I've experienced a lot of improbable situations before, and and it's just like one of the best feelings, honestly.
I think that one thing I would love to do, which I know I had a vision when I was younger that I was going to sing the national anthem at the Super Bowl. One day I will do that, and that seems impossible and improbable. I mean, actually, I've only seen like major recording artists do that. Maybe that's in the cards. Maybe God is saying, you know, my record is coming, you know, so that I will one day be a Super Bowl national anthem singer, you know. So
Hmm.
what is your next thing that you think that will, you know, be impossible but you will conquer?
That's a good question. I that's the first time anybody's ever asked me that
Yeah.
question, and I would say probably trying to maybe like run like a marathon or
I
something.
love that, Conrad. I love that. I've actually been running myself lately. I'm up to 4 miles, and I want to get to five. 5 miles a day will make me a 10K marathon runner.
Oh, wow. What's so I know you're talking about running, so like what is the farthest distance you've ever ran?
Well, I mean, I used to run around my neighborhood. Let me tell you, after I used to go to the treadmill and be like, "Oh my gosh, I cannot get on that because my chest was burning." And after a mile, I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, that was so hard." Now I work my way all the way up to 3 miles. So I used to run all the way around my neighborhood, all the way to the park and back down. So I would do 3 whole miles of me just running straight. And now I'm on my treadmill. I'm up to 4 miles. So I want to work my way up by the end of the year to 5 miles. Because 3 miles I didn't even know this. 3 miles is 5K. That's a 5K marathon. So I can run a 5K marathon easily because now I'm up to 4 miles. And then when you get up to 5 miles a day, you can do a 10K marathon. So there's people that do 5 to 10 to 15 miles to 20 miles a day, but those are runners, professional runners. But I would like maybe we'll do a marathon together. That'd be
Yeah,
fun.
absolutely. I mean, the most I've ever ran personally was 13 miles, like one time in the
Oh
woods
wow.
back in my junior
That's
year
a lot.
of high school. But but I've been starting to at least run just a little bit. So
Wow, 13 miles in one setting?
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, yeah, that's why I'm hoping to do like a marathon
yeah.
at
Oh, you're a marathon runner. Yeah, for sure.
at some point. I mean, I mean, did you ever have you ever gotten like a timed like mile before?
Yeah, I used to do like really fast. I got down to I think about 7 minutes. Yeah, about 7 minutes for 1 mile. Yeah, yeah, and I was really proud of that because at one time it took me like 12 or 11 minutes to get through that 1 mile. But now, I did it because I was like, I want to see how fast I can sprint. So I did it about 7 minutes for the mile. So what about you?
Oh, nice. You're gonna be surprised by this, but my best time was 4:43.
Oh my, you're fast!
That
Wow.
yeah, that was back in high school. But yeah, I mean, not everybody knows this, but I used to be a bit of a fast runner. I mean, I was 4:43, and
You should have went out for the Olympics. That's
thank
amazing.
you,
Wow.
and then I got like a 201 800, like, and that's how like I got to like districts and all that. And then my 5K time was like 17:43. So
Wow. Oh, that is so good. You're fast.
thank you. Yeah, I mean, I was better at like the middle distance and all than the longer
Really?
distance, but yeah.
Good for you.
Now, now
You can
if now
conquer anything.
thanks. Yeah. Now, if there's like any like whether it's like sports or activities that you've never tried, which one would you want to try the most?
Huh, that's a good question. I haven't done parasailing, where you could just fly. You'll be just gliding in the air. I haven't done parasailing. Yeah, I think I would like that one day. One day I'll do that on an island or something like that.
Awesome. I know that here's the thing. I know that you got this, and I've I've done parasailing before, and it's in Hawaii, and it's so much fun,
See,
honestly.
I haven't been to Hawaii yet. I have a little island feel today. I think it's time for me to go to Hawaii so I can do some parasailing like you.
Yeah, and fun fact, my mom's side of the family lives in Hawaii, so
Oh, so you went pretty frequently then, growing up, huh?
kind of, but here's the thing. I did actually go to Hawaii this year because to go visit my grandma back in like February. So
Nice. That's wonderful. Good for you.
thank you. And you know, if you do go to Hawaii, absolutely go to like the Waikiki beach
Waikiki.
area because that's like the best part
That's
probably.
okay. Okay. Thank you for telling me. Yeah, for sure. Now, what about Maui? Is that nice too? I heard Maui was nice, but
Yeah. So
uh-huh.
I've been to Maui, I guess technically twice, because once I was two, and then once back in 2017. It's nice. The only thing is it's not where like, the big city or where I mean there are tourists there, but
Okay.
it's not like as touristy, at least in my opinion,
Okay.
than the other one. But if you wanted to like have like a private like time to yourself, Maui would be a good
Oh, so
um,
Maui is more secluded, while Waikiki is the fun part. It's the party part. Okay.
yeah, and I guess, it's just I know I'm also someone that loves being around people and loves being around like, the city, I guess. So I guess it depends on like your preference, I suppose.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I will definitely keep that in mind for sure. For
For
sure.
So speaking of traveling, if you were to go to like a place, let's just say tomorrow, whether you can go flying on airplane or whether driving by car, what place would you want to go to the most?
There's so many places I want to visit. It really is. The most, so many places. Which one will I say? I have so many in my mind. I heard that Portugal is amazing. I heard that Portugal is amazing. I was almost going to say Paris because I haven't been to Paris yet. And I heard it's beautiful. It's, very posh. And I love that kind of lifestyle. But I heard that Portugal is very close to LA, and I love LA. That's where I live now, where it's nice weather, it's beaches, it's city, it's museums, it's cultural. So, yeah, it's so hard. So many places to visit. But yeah, I would. I need to do
Oh,
more traveling because I need to do Portugal, Paris. I want to do Hawaii, and I want to do Bali as well. Yeah.
oh, excellent. Awesome. So, in terms of like LA, I mean, for those that haven't been to LA, what would be your most like recommended spots to like visit as like a
Oh yeah.
as a tourist? I know I personally have, but I know not everybody has
Uh-huh.
been there. So,
You've been to LA? Yeah.
oh yeah, so I've been to LA probably like 8 or 9 times to go to Disneyland, but like actual LA, like Hollywood type
Yeah.
LA, I've been to like twice.
Okay. Now Hollywood is nice. It's really busy. Hollywood is very, very busy. To go, one of my favorite places is Santa Monica Pier. Okay, Santa Monica Pier is like heaven to me, because they have it's the pier, it's a bridge that you walk on, and you see the water, and people are playing music, and I mean, you just have so much fun. There's food there, and I mean, it's heaven. It's amazing. That's my happy place. But I mean, it's so many places to visit because even at the Santa Monica Pier, they have the Third Street Promenade. That's where you can do your shopping. But then there's other beaches like Malibu Beach is beautiful. That's amazing. I mean, everywhere. I love it. I love you can go to Beverly Hills. I mean, you can just do the town. It's just a really incredible place to live. It really, really is.
Oh, excellent. Have you ever been to Disneyland before in
And
LA?
Disneyland is very fun, yes. And actually, I was like, man, should I buy a season pass this year? Because I do love Disneyland. Yeah, Disneyland is a great place. It's a very happy place, yes. It's the happiest place on earth. That's what they say, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I was going to ask you, have you ever had any magical moments or really crazy moments while you were at at Disneyland? Because I know because I've been there 8 or 9 times. Like I've had my fair
You've been
share
there
of crazy.
8 or 9 times? No, wait a minute. I've probably
Yeah.
been there twice. I think I've been there twice. Tell me about your most magical experience.
Okay, so yeah, so I mean, first of all, I've been there like for my birthday. I've been there all 4 seasons.
Yeah.
I've been there around like Halloween, almost Christmas, and during
Okay.
summertime. But my most magical moment was actually in 2021 in November. So I was going to the Cars ride at Disneyland, and then my parents had texted me, "Oh, Gwen Stefani is performing at It's a Small World." And then, like right after the Cars ride, I literally sprinted from the Cars ride to It's a Small World, and then I saw there was like a rope across, and I was like thinking, "Oh, should I go over the rope?" And then I told myself, "You know what? I am Conrad. You can do absolutely anything that you can put your mind to. Let's at least give it a try."
Okay.
So then I went over the rope. The security asked, "Do you have a wristband?" I acted like, I lost it because, I really wanted to be in there, and they're like, "No problem, just stand there." And then when everybody was quiet, I yelled out, "Hi, Gwen," and waved, and then she said hi and waved me back, and then everybody was looking at me in shock because I was that one guy that decided to like do that. So that was probably like one of the most magical moments. And then also um, on the same trip the next day, I ended up meeting the famous singer Molly Moore, because I'd been Instagram live with her, back in 2020. Like
Wow.
first time I met her was June of 2020, and then we actually got to meet in person for the first time ever in November in Disneyland. And that was the first time I ever met someone I had gone like live with, an actual person. We got to like have like a pretty cool like time. So that's why that particular trip was magical. But the other magical moment was I did go to Miley Cyrus's Sweet 16 birthday party, but that was like a long time ago, when I was like 12 or 13, and I ended up meeting Demi Lovato and Tyra Banks and Madison Pettis and Cole Sprouse. So, so those were two different trips. But again, I mean, those were like my two most magical moments, you know, besides celebrating my birthdays, and then of course, like celebrating like with my cousin, like hanging with them. But those two trips were like the ones that stood out to me the most,
Oh
I think.
my
So
gosh, that is incredible. You really draw good energy. That's what it is. Wow. Good for you. No, I just remember my favorite time was on my birthday. It was the first time that I came to LA, and I was like, I just want to go to Disneyland. That's all I want to do for my birthday. And I just went, and I had the time of my life. I got the little Mickey Mouse ears, and I just had a wonderful time. And then the parade with the fireworks, and I mean, it was truly a magical place. It truly was. So I enjoyed myself.
oh, awesome! I'm really happy that you had fun. Do you have like a favorite ride at Disneyland?
A favorite ride? I don't remember. I do love the swings. I really do love the swings. I mean, ever since I was a little girl, and my dad used to kid with me a lot. He said, when I was a little baby, like one of my first words was swing, 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 swing. I love the swings. And so whenever I get on the big tall swings and they take you all the way up and you go around, I just feel so relaxed, and I'm just like floating. It's like, I'm just flying around. I love it. I really do love the swings. I have to admit that. Now, I do roller coasters. I do like roller coasters, but I probably would still say that the swing is my favorite. What about you?
Oh, awesome! I would say Thunder Mountain because I love the train, and I like how they say, "The wildest ride in the wilderness." Yeah,
Exactly. I love it.
I
I
remember.
love
I
it.
remember that being like the last ride I went on before I left for home, and actually one of the I don't know if it was like my first ride, but it was definitely the last ride. I remember, going on that. I kept like, the last like hour or 30 minutes, I kept sprinting to the ride, going over and over again, making sure I got as many rides as I could. And at like 11:30 or 11 at night, because the park closed at 12
Yeah.
last time, and I definitely got my squeeze filled. And actually, my last one was actually on like midnight, pretty much, right at midnight. And technically it was the next day, but that's when the park closed. But I could always say I went on Thunder Mountain at like midnight the next day, even though that's right when the park closed. So,
Oh, wow. See, you're making me want to go to Disneyland right now. It's been a long time. It's been a few years now, so I need to go back. It's time.
oh, for sure. Now, my next question is, are you currently dating anyone?
Well, I'm happily married. He put a ring on it.
Awesome.
Oh, if you like it, then you should have put it. So yes. So I'm happily married. I've been married for what was it? Six years now. 6 years. So we've been together for over 7 years. But yeah.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
congratulations. That's really awesome. And how did you guys like first meet, if I may ask?
We first met on set. I was an actress, one of the lead actresses in a film project when we were in Virginia. So I was in grad school in Virginia, and we were doing, some film projects. And my husband, he wasn't an actor or anything. He was helping a friend out with just being like a background actor. Sometimes you get an opportunity to be a background actor in film. He took that opportunity, and I saw him. And he saw me, and he didn't say anything. And I was just like, wait a minute, what happened? Is he married? Is he, So I was asking people around him, like some of my friends that were there, and they were like, no, I don't think so. So I reached out to him on Facebook. Facebook was big, back then. Well, yeah, 2015. It was 2015 I met him, yeah. So it's about 8 years now. Okay. And so I reached out to him and I was like, hey, I saw you, I don't know if you saw me. Wink, wink. And he said, yeah, I saw you. He said, I thought you were with somebody. And I was like, oh no, that was my friend. That was my brother. And he was like, oh, okay, well, let's go out then. So, but that was in Virginia. And so I told him after about a month, I said, I'm moving to California. I was leaving to go to California. He was like, what? Why are you leaving? I was like, yeah, I got to pursue my dream, being an actress. And I said, well, if ever you are out there, we'll hang out. We'll go, out to lunch or something like that. And as soon as he got the opportunity, he came. He told me he was in California and we went out. But it was funny because I had broken my ankle like a month before, yeah. And I was like, my ankle is broken, like I'm in a cast. And he was like, it's fine, I'll come and get you. And literally he swept me off my feet. He picked me up, put me in the car, and we went out to eat, and he carried me on his back, so he was a Prince Charming. He's always been my Prince Charming.
Oh my gosh, awesome. And that's really awesome. And what would you say your most exciting trip with your husband has been so far, or this adventure?
So we went to Cancun for one of my birthdays, which was super fun. Oh my gosh, we just ate. I probably gained like 10 pounds. We just ate and laid by the pool. We had some friends there too, so we kind of, went to all the different clubs and restaurants, and I mean, we had such a good time. It's funny that you do mention my husband, because we're doing a podcast called "The Truth Is Easy." It's something that we say to each other, because when we're complimenting each other, we'll be like, oh, you look nice today. And I'll say, thank you. And he'll be like, well, the truth is easy, so that's the name of our podcast, is The Truth Is Easy Podcast. And you can find that on Apple or Spotify and things like that. We also have an Instagram page. So yeah, you can follow us on there.
Oh, awesome. And now where do you see yourself in the next 10 years?
Oh, that's a question. 10 years. That's so good, Conrad. Because I actually wrote out my whole goals, everything that I wanted to accomplish. And by this time, but I will push it out if I need be. I'll already be an Academy Award winner of a film that is life-changing. I may write it, who knows, because now I'm a writer. And having a music career as well. I do love music, and I feel like that's just kind of the one thing I haven't like really leaned into. So having a music career, and also doing more theater. I see myself as an EGOT winner. I don't know if you know what that means. EGOT is Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony Awards. So I have so many gifts and talents in me, and I don't want to not use any of them. So I want to use everything that I have in me to the best of my ability within these last 10 years, these next 10 years, because eventually I think I do want to, retire and just, live a nice and quiet life and just read books, because I do love reading. But yeah, I see myself being a great entertainer, as well as doing some business with my husband, doing speaking engagements and teaching other people, how to have successful relationships and successful businesses. So yeah, I see myself like that in 10 years.
Oh, awesome. And I think that you got this, and you just got to keep yourself motivated. So I know you're talking about like those like awards. Have you ever attended one of those award shows just in person before?
I have. Well, let me think. Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony. Okay, so I was trying to think, because I know I've been to some award ceremonies, but I don't think I've been to them in person yet. I think I was invited to just go, but I would love to go and be in the running, like at least nominated, you know, for it, because that would give me, I would love that, to be invited and to be nominated and to win is the ultimate goal. But I would love that my first experience at these award ceremonies would be that I am up for an award.
Cool. So I saw someone comment, I saw you on the Jennifer Hudson show. How was that experience?
I wish I was on the Jennifer Hudson show. No, that wasn't me. Maybe somebody looked like me.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, wait. Oh, my goodness. Wait a minute. I was in the audience. Oh, my God. Who said that? Who said that? That is so funny because I was in the audience and the camera was on me and my friend. I think that's what they're talking about. Because I wasn't on, I thought they were talking about an invited guest to interview with Jennifer Hudson, but I was in the audience and we were having a good time. Okay, so yes, I was there. I'm glad they remembered because I forgot. Obviously, I forgot. But yeah, we had a great time. We had a great time. It was a great show. It was a great show. And Jennifer even came over and said hi to us. She came over. Yeah, she came over and said, hi, I love your energy. I was like, yes, girl, we love you, honey. So yeah, I do remember that. Thank you, guys.
Oh, awesome. That must have been a really awesome experience. So how did you like get an invite to that, like as an audience?
Oh,
Like,
as an
member?
audience member, I think it's pretty, I feel like it's pretty easy. I say it's pretty easy, but my friend invited me. So I think he went on, I think the Jennifer Hudson show website, and you just fill out, you know, that you want to be an audience member and they'll, you know, give you tickets. So, I think that's what he did. He just got tickets and he invited me to come with him. So I was like, sure, I love Jennifer Hudson.
You know, you mentioning that kind of reminds me of, I mean, this was during the pandemic, but I was a studio audience member in like the Drew Barrymore show and the Tamara Hall show, and like you know, the background audience, like virtually, and I got on TV at least once for the Drew Barrymore show and the Tamara Hall show, and both of them I was able to get at least one like shout out from, just because of my luck. And you know, because I was on the studio audience for the Drew Barrymore show one time, I ended up winning like a $500 gift card slash $500 worth of like beauty products. I kind of gave the beauty products to like my parents, and they gave it to like one of their like workmates. But then, you know,
wow, you won some stuff. That's wonderful.
yeah, it was like everybody that participated in that particular show ended up winning like all of that. And even like, you know, one of my friends that had told me about the show got like that basket too. And man, I was like so excited because I actually got to be a season ticket holder for like a WNBA team I really enjoyed. And then and because of that, because I would not have done that if it wasn't for that show. And then I also got to go to like attend a soccer game because of that. So it's like when you was talking about that, it brought back a good memory back in like 2020, 2021, I guess. So
that's cool. Good for you. Nice.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Now, if there was like a show or movie that you have never been in, which one would you want to be in the most, you think?
Oh my gosh. I have been watching Queen Charlotte on Netflix with I mean, Shonda Rhimes writes it. It's brilliant. It's beautiful. You actually remind me of the lead guy. Have you watched it at all yet?
Wait, which movie?
Queen Charlotte. It's a show on Netflix.
I have not. I have not, but I will make sure to like watch it because I was trying.
Just at least check out the first episode because you remind me of the King. Because it's about how the Queen of England at that time had become queen. So she was betrothed, you know, she was taken to the king to get married, and they were young and they were in love. But the king was very handsome, and he reminds me of you. Very tall, dark, you know, dark hair and all that good stuff. So it's such a great show. It's written so well. I really I want to work with amazing writers. I want to work with amazing actors. I mean, I want to tell amazing stories. I just love storytelling and how it's so universal and how it touched so many lives and souls and minds. So Yeah, that's what I'm totally into.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely check that out
Yeah,
and
you'll love
where
it.
it
Yeah,
can
it's great.
to you because
Hey,
I
you
was
never know. You might get to interview one of them. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll be on the show next season, and you'll get to interview me again. Who knows?
who knows? There's a lot of possibilities.
It's so many
I
possibilities.
mean,
Anything is possible.
yeah, I mean, take for example, like, before I didn't mention this before, but before the pandemic, I could not have imagined like hosting an Instagram live and then
Wow.
and like interviewing like any celebrity or even being guested. Like before the pandemic, that was like something I didn't think I was ever going to be
Wow.
interested in or even was like aware of. But then of course with the pandemic, I'm not saying the pandemic was good, but I will say the one positive aspect that came out of it was, you know, I changed a little bit because, I was not someone who would want to like do technological
Mhm.
stuff, but here I am now, like being able to like interview some celebrities and being able to do it in person. I
You're doing a
feel
great
really,
job.
really honored. And in the back of my mind, since five, like I'd always wanted to interview one, and I'm doing a lot better than one at this point. So,
Yeah. Good job. I'm proud of you.
and
Keep up the good work, Conrad.
thank you. And I always have the quote of live life to the fullest because you just never know what opportunity or adventure you can seek upon. And if there's a risk that you want to take, absolutely, absolutely take it because those can be sometimes the most memorable. And some of the things I've done, sure, I've been I get really shy because, I sometimes am a little socially shy in person. But you know what? If I'm like totally aware that, it could be something that could be memorable the rest of your life, that is one strength I have is, I do act upon it if it's like absolutely like needed or something. So
Awesome. Good for you.
yeah. Now I was gonna ask you, what is like one quote that you have in your head to keep yourself like motivated? Because I know I told you just mine right there. So
Oh yeah. Well, I always tell myself to remember that life is a gift. Life is a gift that we get to enjoy, and so not get stuck in, just, I gotta get this job. I gotta go to work. I just gotta get money. I just gotta pay bills. but life is a gift. It's so many things that you can enjoy and so many people that you can enjoy. I mean, Conrad, I hadn't met you until last week and I work with amazing actors and singers and it's so incredible like how life journeys takes you and it truly is a gift. And also that you're the star of your life. You don't have to be anybody's supporting or background. This is your life, so you be the star. You choose what you're going to do in whatever day. So I do I have to remind myself that often, because you can actually allow yourself to kind of, oh, it's okay. I'll let, other people, get to shine. But no, it's your turn. Every day you can shine. So that's what I tell myself.
oh yeah, for sure. And I was gonna ask you, what is like one fact about yourself that like nobody knows about?
Ah, one fact that nobody knows about. Ah, let's see. I wish I could say something like really cool, but I love karaoke. I don't know. I think people kind of know that though. I love karaoke. Okay, so here's one. I used to be a teenage pro bowler. There it is.
Hey, pro bowler.
I used to love bowling when I was a teenager. So I was on like a bowling team and we used to compete. Yeah. So yeah, I was kind of a pro bowler when I was a teenager, but I kind of let that fall off. I need to get back into it. But yeah, that's kind of a fun fact, right?
Oh, awesome!
Thank
Congratulations
you.
on that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your highest score in bowling?
Oh yeah. I think I got a 190. I was up there. I'm almost because I think a perfect score is a 200. So I don't think I ever reached the 200, but I think I got up to about 190, 195 maybe. Yeah. So Real
What?
close, real close. I know. And now when I go back, because I think I went back maybe like a few years ago, because I just don't go bowling enough anymore. And I got maybe like a 120. I was like, oh my gosh, I suck, but 120 is really good compared to, a lot of people, but
I
um,
mean,
yeah.
I mean, you got me beat because my highest score was, I think, 140 or
Yeah.
so, or 145.
That's really
So,
good. No, that's really good. 140 is a really good score. That's why I was saying 120, I sucked. I was like, oh, this sucks, because I'm used to, actually honestly, my average was probably around like 140, 150. But I remember like my highest being around 190 and loving that. Yeah.
have you ever, so I guess since you've gotten 190, that means you probably have gotten a turkey before, like 3 strikes in a row
Oh
before.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Turkey, yeah. One after the other for sure. Yeah. Turkeys and then the spare. Yeah, totally.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
oh my gosh, you're so lucky. I've gotten 2 strikes in a row a couple times, but I have yet to achieve getting a turkey. One
The
of these
turkey.
days.
You'll get the turkey. You'll get it. You just gotta keep on trying. Yeah. I need to go back and do it again too. It's been a while. So you making me wanna this is a great conversation because I'm like, oh, I need to go back to, doing that. So yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Oh, for sure. Now my next question to you is, what is your goal for this year?
Actually, I have a couple of goals. So I am getting ready to go on a speech tour. That's what Giovanna and Catherine and we are talking about. Now that we have our book release, we want to create a tour for the Darman moms. So I'm getting my speech prepared for that, so we can tour all around the country. Also creating an online course that correlates with my book Finding You, and then I'm gonna, like I said, dabble in some music. I think I'm gonna put out maybe about 5 or 6 songs. Maybe, I don't know if they call that a record anymore. Maybe it's an EP. It's new language now because you put everything on Apple and and Spotify, and I don't know, but yeah, I think I wanna record some songs because I think it's long overdue. I do love to sing, and I love to sing spiritual worship songs. I love reggae. I mean, I love all types of music. So I think it's time for me to start to create some music as well. Would you buy my songs and play
I,
my songs?
oh, absolutely, no question, no question. But would you want to go on, just to follow up on that? Would you want to go on tour then, or?
Yeah, for sure. Sure, for sure. I would love to tour. Yeah, I would love to tour with my songs. Yeah, for sure.
Very, very cool. Now, my last question to you is, what is your best advice to someone who's like wanting to go for like their dream career? What would be something you would say to that?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, there's so many things I can say for somebody who wants to go for their dream career. Well, go for it. First of all, don't let anybody talk you out of it. Because that dream was given to you for a reason. That's a dream. That's a vision. That's something that's inside of you that's saying you can do this. So I think that going forward, finding the steps, finding a mentor. It's always good to find somebody that is where you want to be, or at least a couple of steps ahead of you, so that they can help you with the next steps, so that you can become it. And do the work. You just got to do the work for it. Go in daily and work on it, whether it's an hour, a couple hours, or you're full-time in school and you're working on that craft, that dream. You just got to put the work in, and eventually it will manifest. It will.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to thank you so much for coming on. And guys, follow me at Conrad Brotz. I'll be doing more celebrity interviews, and always check my stories if there's like any other ones. But again, thank you so much for coming on. I was honored, last week to meet you, and the person that interviewed you did a great
Yeah.
job too. I was honored to meet her too. But thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to interview you, because you're super awesome, and keep
Oh,
up and keep up and keep up the good like energy. And I'm humbly honored that you got to take the time out of your day to come on. And I'll make sure to post this on my Instagram, and I'll
please
post a
do.
screenshot on my um on my story
Thank
too.
you,
So
Conrad. You did an excellent job, and I feel like it's an honor to be interviewed by you. So good job. All
thank,
right, bye guys. Thank you for
thank you,
joining us.
thank you so much.